Welcome to You Can Be ABCs, a podcast where we learn about careers and have a little fun along the way. I'm Sam.
And I'm Bobby. Sam, how you doing today?
Pretty good.
All right. Had a good productive week at school, I'm guessing.
Mhm.
Well, listen, we actually have a different photo in the back. It says Memphis remembers Dr. Martin Luther King. We just had April 4th, which was the date that he actually came to an end here in Memphis, Tennessee, right? And so we have kind of changed our background out just a little bit. And there's also this quote that we're going to read before we get off the air because our guest is a dear friend of the show, dear friend of ours. We appreciate him so much. So, Sam, we're going to hand it over to you I want to give a great introduction to the guest that we have today on You Can Be ABC.
Friends, students, and podcast listeners, lend me your ear. I come to praise our guest on today's podcast. He is the executive director for a nonprofit organization called Code Crew. He hates blueberries despite blueberries being one of the most adorable fruits in the produce section. His favorite video game is Gauntlet 2, a game played on an Atari. It's like a video game console. His vote for the best villain is Darth Vader, and you will soon hear that, like Darth Vader, he has a super cool baritone voice as well, just without the sound of a sinus infection. He is half man, half amazing. Give it up for Mr. Meka Igwekwe!
Yes.
Thank you.
To put a little applause on that. To put a little applause. Yes.
Thank you. That is the best introduction I've ever had.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you. Meka, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Bobby, you and I have been friends for a long time, and I've been watching Sam grow up into the bright, outstanding young man he is and that he's becoming.
Yeah, well, listen, we appreciate that. In fact, we should probably, Sam, you should know this. Like, Mr. Meka and I, we go back to, as he used to say, Hot Wheel tracks back in the day. His great, wonderful mother, Miss Helen, was my mother, Gaynell's dear friend. They went to college together, and he and his brother came around and were around. So we've known each other for a good long time. So yeah, it's great having you on the show. This is like family here.
But right on, absolutely.
Well, listen, we want to get right to it because honestly, we have a lot of things I know that will come out. And in fact, we shared a little bit of that already, but we want to, again, I want to appreciate you for your great work you do. And again, want you to talk a little bit more as we go along. Feel free, nice and open. This is the unedited version. We don't stop and start back over. Say what's on your mind. So let's start with some questions from Sam. Sam, let's go.
Okay. Coding already sounds mysterious. Can you solve this by telling us what the word exactly means?
So, great question. Coding is basically writing instructions for a computer to follow. Way back in the way back, coding was you had to do it with a bunch of ones and zeros, and it was called machine language, and it was hard for humans to understand. But now we code in languages that look a lot more like English.
What are you saying?
But the fundamental principles are the same.
I thought that ones and zeros were binary code.
That's right. Ones and zeros are binary code, and that's how computers basically understand instructions today.
Wow. So it's like writing directions for a computer to tell a computer what to do. Am I saying that
That's
the right
exactly
way?
right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And so when you write instructions or directions for a computer to follow or for it to do something, every single app, every single video game, every single website, everything that you can think of that involves a computer, it basically boils down to these instructions that humans have historically been writing, but now you got a lot more artificial intelligence helping to write.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
When you have binary code, is it like having like words using the ones and zeros? Or is it like some kind of pattern?
There is. So basically, the way the computer is built is that certain sequences of ones and zeros there's you establish like a standard or a convention to say, okay, when these ones and zeros come in this, pattern, do this type of instruction. So an instruction might be to add two numbers, for example. So you might have like a series of ones and zeros to say, okay, add instruction, and then another ones and zeros for the first number, and then set another ones and zeros for the second number, right? And so you'll be add first number, second number. And the way the computer is built, the circuitry in it is designed such that when those ones and zeros go through, it actually comes out the other end with the two numbers added.
Right.
And so there's all kinds of instructions, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and then not just math, but maybe combining numbers or things like that. And when you get to thousands of these instructions, you can actually do a lot of interesting things,
Right.
like play Gauntlet 2,
Right.
which was my favorite game from the 80s.
That's great. That's great. No, I love that. And you probably we'll talk about it. Let's get to the any other question you have, Sam. Those are all great follow-up questions too. I love that. I love that.
How do you get interested in coding?
Yeah, how did you get interested in it? Like, what's your origin story? I'm interested to hear this.
Sure. So, Sam, you're 10 years old, and when I was 10 years old, and this was way back in 19, long time ago.
Way back in the way back, like you said already. Way back in the way back. We like that. Yeah.
Way back in the way back. And, I asked my mother for a Texas Instruments home computer for Christmas.
Lord have mercy. Texas Instruments.
And she made that miracle happen for me.
My Lord.
Yeah.
Texas Instruments.
And so Texas Instruments, yep, they made more than just calculators.
Ooh-wee.
And so you can imagine, though, back then, computers weren't as powerful as they are now, not as convenient as they are now. You had to take this home computer and plug it into your television just to use it. And you can also imagine, with a name like Meka Egwekwe, that I never saw my name on TV.
Right.
And so one of the first things I did was learn how to program my name to move across the screen on TV. Then I went to my mother and said, "Hey, my name is on TV." So that's how I got started, and I found that I loved it. And the next thing I know, I was going to the library, checking out books on how to program it, make my own games. I'm a huge Star Wars fan since the years, and so I made my own Return of the Jedi video game, things like that.
Wow.
But so I just got hooked once I learned that I can instruct a machine to do whatever I wanted it to.
Wow.
And so it was really cool.
Yeah, that is, man. So interesting about that. You mentioned Texas Instruments, man. Do you know, if you just think about what I remember, for instance, like Sam and I, what did we play? We play video. What's the video game we play? Football. What's the football game's name?
Madden.
Oh yeah. Madden. I'm sorry.
Madden, yeah.
So we play Madden, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I remember being in the college dorm playing. Boy, we thought we had something back when we had Sega Genesis, and man, that stuff was so. Look at it now. We thought it was like the best thing ever.
You were in college when you had a Sega Gen. You're that old?
Yeah, man. Listen, you're gonna get up off me, first of all. But man,
Yeah, I think you're saying you owe Moses a nickel.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. Listen, I'm just happy to be here. But I'm telling you, man, when we thought man, I remember that. All those guys we in the dorm years ago, and just to look at it now, it is like the most amazing thing just to see how technology has kind of gone. But it's really great to hear you, honestly, to hear you talk about how you got started in it. Do you remember something that you saw or anything like that? Because like back then, it's like we didn't have like it's not like we had a bunch of folks walking around especially now that look
Right.
like us who were in this particular, area. I mean, was it just you were drawn to it, or is anything that I'm just interested.
Yeah. No, it was growing up in South Memphis.
Yeah,
I didn't know any software
yeah,
engineers. Right?
yeah.
I didn't know anybody who coded or wrote their own programs,
Right.
any of those sorts of things. But I did grow up in a house with a mother and a grandmother and a great grandmother who
Yeah,
all said I can be anything I wanted to be.
yeah.
And so I didn't know I couldn't be a software engineer, right? I didn't know that black software engineers especially were rare. I didn't know that. I just knew that I liked doing it, and my mother supported me. She would take me to the library because there was no internet to connect it to back then, so I
That's
had to
right.
go to the library and get books on it.
Right, right.
And as I went through elementary and then what we called junior high school back then, now
Right.
it's called middle school, and then I went through high school, my passion for it just grew.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, what was a monumental decision for me was deciding to go to Morehouse College and studying computer science there.
Mm.
Because then, for the first time, I was amongst a group of others who came from similar backgrounds, that also saw themselves as producers. And so it was a brotherhood in that special place called Morehouse.
Yes,
Bobby, you
sir.
know a little something about that
Yes,
place,
sir. Yes,
and
sir. Yes, sir.
as does Dr. King on the
Yes,
wall
sir.
behind
Yes,
you.
sir. Morehouse,
And so
Morehouse man, as well as Meka and myself, all Morehouse. Shout out to our wonderful alma, dear old Morehouse. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Yep. And so Morehouse just compounded my confidence
Yeah.
in being successful software engineer, which I did for 19 years. From Morehouse I went on and got a master's in computer science. And then for 19 years I was a software engineer until myself and my two co-founders created Code Crew.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. I think that probably brings us to our next question, which was
The organization you lead is called Code Crew. Tell us about Code Crew and your work with it.
yep, absolutely. There we go.
Sure, sure. So Code Crew, we are a nonprofit social impact organization that teaches AI and computer science to kids and adults. So we started 10 years ago. In fact, we're going to be celebrating our 10th birthday in May of this year.
Beautiful.
And we started with a single summer camp with a group of kids at the Lester Community Center in Binghamton, teaching them how to make their own mobile apps with some support from the Memphis Grizzlies. And that has now grown into us, teaching computer science directly in schools all around Memphis. We started training adults to become software engineers so they could have careers like I was blessed to have. We started training teachers to teach computer science so that every school or every grade, a child can have access to quality computer science, which we think is important in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Your dad and I learned about photosynthesis way back in the day,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But Sam, you're growing up in a world. You and your classmates are growing up in a world where technology is increasing in your lives,
hmm
and it's important that you know how this works. And so that's why we train teachers, and that's why we also have been working with other partners around the state to
Yeah.
get computer science to be a graduation requirement, even
Yeah. Let me
to
let
make
me
sure every child in every school and every grade gets it.
Absolutely. I got to pause there because that deserves a round of applause in and of itself. Because let me tell you about that Meka Gwekwe in terms of the role he played, actually regarding computer science, getting in. I mean, that dude, you see that dude right on that? You see that man right there? That's a bad man. Listen, let me tell you, Meka. The
Too
critical role
kind.
he played to get computer science as a graduation requirement in the state of Tennessee. Can't say enough about it. And quite frankly, the work of Code Crew, let me just share my experience. What part of my experience of it, Sam, has been this. What I've seen Meka do, my friend, has been like, it's one of those things where, and I want you to talk a little bit more about that because so many times, our first podcast, we were speaking with a medical doctor, right? And all of the schooling that is required to go through those years of training and then residency, and all of that. But coding, the barrier for actually getting into that is not as high and long and that's something that you all do with Code Crew. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I want Sam to hear it pretty clearly, and people and our those out there listening to us to kind of understand just not the work of Code Crew, but why we see this as such a critical area based upon the barrier to get in not being as high and wide as it is in some other professions. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, sure. So you're right. The barrier is not as high, it's not as steep to be a producer of technology. In fact, I shared the story as a 10-year-old boy, I started writing my own programs, right? And I had no background in it at all, other than what I could find in the library, right? And now the resources are much more abundant, and you've got online resources and so forth. But you also have great programs like what we do at Code Crew,
Right.
our adult program called a Code School that students spend 6 or 7 months with us, learning the basics of how to become a software engineer. And on the other end of that, they're getting jobs that quadruple, quintuple their incomes. Right? We try to get them at least in jobs that start at 55 or $60,000 a year, and but they quickly move into $100,000 a year jobs, and so it's life changing for them if they're coming from backgrounds where they're making a whole lot less money, working nights and weekends at Walgreens and things like that. Now they can actually have some money in their pocket to go to a Grizzlies game, but or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
But I say that, but really to set themselves up and set their families up for great futures and outcomes. And so yeah, it's tech is an equalizer unlike any other, and we want to make sure that people of all backgrounds and persuasions can see themselves as producers of this, and don't just decide, oh, that's for somebody else.
Right. Right. Right.
They should at least try it,
Right. Right.
and if they like it,
Right.
you can make a lot of money, and you can even start a business with it. You can totally be entrepreneurial with it too. It's so equalizing in that way.
Yeah, man, that is. You hear that, Sam? Social impact. I mean, there's this. I'm going to have you to read. In fact, and we've talked about this before. And I know Sam has. We had a engagement. Was that a coding class you took one time, or was there a?
Like six maybe, and there was an online coding class.
Oh yeah. There was this online thing that he did some time ago, and you guys have always been packed. The one thing about Code Crew is, man, you guys, you guys. I think sometime back we had looked at it, but Sam stays busy. And one other thing I found out is that, man, you guys are packed, and I wasn't going to lean on my relationship with the executive director slash founder to try to get a spot for Sam, just knowing there's so many folks coming through that program who I know will benefit greatly from it. Right. But there is one other thing. I mean, we're talking about Morehouse here, and I guess, with this April 4th kind of right behind us, you told the story before. And Sam, I want you to listen to this because I'm going to have you to read a quote in a minute here. This is a quote. The guy's name is Dr. And tell me if I'm getting it right. His name is Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays. Like, Benjamin Elijah Mays used to be the president of Morehouse College, and he was known to be somebody that Dr. King during his time as a student really looked up to. He was a wonderful, great man, and so a number of the quotes that we know Dr. King for, or actually quotes that were from Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays, and one of them is this: "He who gets behind in the race will forever remain behind, or must run faster than the man in front." Right, and it's this whole
That's right.
idea that especially with African Americans and black and brown folks who've come from this background of dealing with discrimination and all these other things, that, hey, you know what we got to do? We've got to accelerate our pace, because guess what? We've started a big behind, but we got to run fast to be better. And that whole thing. Was that the quote, or am I hitting it right? I mean, it seems like there was a quote that I can remember you saying was kind of
Yeah.
foundational to you thinking about social impact in the work of Code Crew. Did I hit that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we quoted, paraphrase it different ways, but he who is behind in the race of life must run twice as fast as the one in front.
That's
And
right.
so that's been our perspective when we launched Code Crew. It's like Memphis it's got its own set of challenges, often very acute challenges that oftentimes gives us a malaise and inferiority complex that we're always behind. And so if we're going to be in front, we've got to do lots of things, and we got to know how to do lots of things at the same time.
Right.
And so many of our peer organizations, organizations that are a lot like Code Crew around the country, they do one or two things. But those four things that I mentioned, of us directly teaching young kids like yourself, Sam, of us directly teaching adults to become software engineers, of us directly teaching or training teachers to be, to teach computer science, and then to change policy at the state and a national level for computer science education. We do all four of those things because if Memphis is going to be relevant in a tech-driven world,
Yeah.
we have got to do it all. So yeah, we're trying to run twice as fast as the ones in front, and we're proud of what we've accomplished over the past 10 years and excited about what we're going to do for the next 10 years. Sam, by the time you're 20, you're not even going to be able to recognize this stuff.
Hey, listen, Sam will be a donor. I mean, honestly, we're gonna make sure Sam sends a personal donation over there to Code Crew. All this great work you all are doing. I have
You're
this.
not mad at that.
No, not at all, right? Listen, he has I like his bank account. It looks good for a kid his age. Listen, I want to do this. He's smiling, yeah. I want to do this. Read this quote, Sam. Can you see all that? All right, read. Let's see. Oh, yeah. It sounds similar, and you'll spot some of this, but you talked about inspiration. I kind of want to share, like, it's interesting that you had this King Benjamin Eliza Mays quote that kind of inspired you. There's this other King quote that really inspired me in terms of this work that we're doing, right? So read this from the beginning, buddy, and read it right into the microphone so we can hear it real good.
It really boils down to this, that all life is interrelated. We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied into a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directionally affects all indirectly. We are made to live together because of the interrelated structure of reality. Did you ever stop to think that you can't leave for your job in the morning without being dependent on most of the world?
Okay, so this is the part that gets me. It's really funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's interesting. Go ahead. You
You get up in the morning and go to the bathroom and reach over for the sponge, and that's handed to you by a Pacific Islander. You reach for a bar of soap, and that's given to you at the hands of a Frenchman. And then you go into the kitchen to drink your coffee for the morning, and that's poured into your cup by a South American. And maybe you want tea. That's poured into your cup by a Chinese. Or maybe you're desirous of having cocoa for breakfast, and that's poured into your cup by a West African. And then you reach over for your toast, and that's given to you at the hands of an English-speaking farmer, not to mention the baker. And before you finish eating breakfast in the morning, you've depended on more than half of the world.
So what's so interesting about that quote to me, right? Is that we always the inescapable garment of the mutuality, the garment of destiny. I know we know that quote from memory. We've heard it any number of times. But that other part of the quote, what's so interesting to me is that when I started to think about like the work that we wanted to do in this, I mean, and we're here now. We launched a nonprofit last year, and we're building up, right? But part of it had to do with this idea that if you look around you, because people, just like you talk about being in South Memphis and not being exposed to folks who are these career professionals, but if you look around you, you have careers all around you because those things that you are using or engaging with during the day, there are these career professionals back of house that you don't see. But who are responsible for it. So that whole thing, when he was riffing on that whole thing of how you can't even get out for breakfast in the morning without being dependent on more than half of the world, that's absolutely true. But it's true when it comes to not just it when it comes to career professionals, right? It's this idea that everything we touch around us, from this to that, there's scores of people, career professionals who have played a role with it, man. So it's so interesting that we would find that I would find my grounding in terms of this kind of social impact. Because I'm trying to be where you are in terms of that whole social impact part, man. I'm trying to get like you, Doc, in terms of that
Well, I'm
social
trying. I'm
impact.
trying to be like Sam. I'm gonna be honest. And have a great platform to speak to the work also, right? It is, communication and storytelling is just as important as the work itself if you're going to multiply that work. And so you've got a great foundation there. But I'll say all the things that you just said about the interconnectedness, think about that. Dr. King said that in the 60s.
60s, man.
And think about how much more interconnected we even are today, especially because of technology.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I can have, my father's Nigerian. I can have a conversation with my cousins in Nigeria, just from WhatsApp or whatever on my phone, right? I've watched their kids grow up. They watched my kids grow up, and
Right.
just the way that we're interconnected today. And think about the things we use every day, like Dr. King
Right.
said,
Right.
right? But increasingly, our educations are going to be dependent in ways that we can only dream of and imagine. Increasingly, our jobs are interdependent. I've led software projects with some of the software developers were in Memphis. Some of them were other parts of the United States. Others were in India or Pakistan or
Right.
Brazil.
Right.
And so it is just compounded in ways that even Dr. King didn't imagine.
Right.
And I'm just excited about what it's going to look like in the future.
No, that is great. That is great. Anything else you have in mind to ask Sam? I actually wanted to, when you guys got into the whole back and forth about the coding part, it brought to my mind, we want to be there for whenever the 10th anniversary is. It's coming up. How long before it's up? What, you got a couple of
So
weeks,
it'll
a
be
month away?
yeah, it'll be the 8th of May. Yeah, so a little over a month from now.
Okay, all right. I will
And
reach
and,
out.
and make sure you got an invite.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will reach out. To see, like, I know you guys pack the place out all of the time. But no, that is, I mean, that is so great. No, I appreciate this. My last question is this, and this is a bit of a subject we have around here. I did something yesterday, Sam. You remember what I did yesterday on your way out the door?
Breathed.
Boy. On the way out the door, we got started with, come on now. I was making his lunch. Sam makes his lunch. He washes his clothes. He's been, it's he's very
Good.
self for years. He's been doing so. He makes his lunch, but you don't make the sandwich the night before because it may get soggy. So you make the sandwich in the morning and you put it in the bag. That whole thing. So I made a sandwich for him. So what did I do? I came up with a song. I said let's write a rap song about as he as he rubs the top of his head. I went into an AI tool and I wrote a rap song as if I was a DJ talking about deli meat. And bro,
Okay.
go tell the
How did it come out?
It was good, but also ridiculous.
story. It was a bro.
Good, but also ridiculous.
Yes.
It spit out a whole song, man. This stuff is so I'm at like where we are now. I've become understanding that even from we went viral back when Sam was just turned 6 and he's 10 now. So much has changed even since then. And there's artificial intelligence. So when we start to have these conversations about careers, we really do need to talk about this because this is this thought in a lot of people's mind. What in the world am I going to do? Because AI is going to do it all, right? So I would like for you to talk a
Well,
little bit
yes.
about artificial intelligence and what you see into the future as it relates to kids like Sam and just folks coming up. Love to hear your thoughts.
Sure, sure. I definitely think that artificial intelligence is a game changer, right? That it will impact us all in every single career, right? Just like technology already for like a generation's impacted every career, AI is going to also impact every career. And so it's important that we all understand how the technology works. We all take advantage of its strengths, and its the positive aspects that it brings by learning to use it and integrate it into what we do. In fact, those who are doing that are going to be the ones who have the futures and the careers.
That's right.
Those who run from artificial intelligence are going to find themselves struggling for the careers that they dream of.
Right.
But we also have to take some agency when it comes to artificial intelligence. And what I mean by that is
Right.
step in to also produce that technology, also right, to influence and shape that technology. That technology has the potential for some concerns around bias, around privacy, around safety and security, around ethics, and we have a role to play in that, but we can't if we don't embrace the technology and step in as producers ourselves. Now I will say that AI. It's interesting about AI is especially the AI that most people are talking about now, which is what they call generative AI, which is based on these large language models or LLMs, which are basically these super advanced autocorrects.
Right.
If you ever use autocorrect on your phone, right? But so it's very good at a lot of language, and but here's what's interesting. You wrote you've written rap songs. We talk about rap, right? And it can, because it's seen lots of examples of rap. It can write a rap song, but it's not that great. It's not
Right.
Rakim from our
Right. Oh
generation
yeah.
or
Oh yeah.
Kendrick Lamar from
Oh yeah.
today, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
And so what's also interesting is that at least I think of it this way. You can get some AI to write a rap song. AI is not going to invent rap.
Right.
It is there's the humanity of the creativity that is still necessary to advance. And so it is AI is a great um, mimicker, if you will, based on what it's studied from all around the internet.
Right.
And so that's what gives me hope is that the creativity. Yes, it can make a song. Yes, it can make a video. Yes, it can make images. Yes, it can write essays. But the real creativity that takes things to a new level will always come from us humans.
Yeah.
And then how do we use AI as the assistant to further advance our creativity and not squeeze us out of those creative opportunities? So that's where the Wild Wild West is happening right now, because everyone's
Yeah.
a little scared. We're trying to figure this out,
Right.
but I'm confident that we will.
Yeah, and the other part, not to go too deep here, but the other part too is going to be like when you start to talk about like what the barriers of it are. Like you think on the policy and legislative side, like what is allowable, right? As in when it comes to AI, like you even see out in Hollywood, like what's happening in the creative spaces is people are concerned about songwriters and artists and folks like that are, they're concerned and wanting to figure out screenwriters and folks who are in those creative spaces, like they're wanting to figure out how they can themselves ensure that they are being protected, right? And that in terms of how things move forward, they are able to ensure that they're not taken over by AI, if you will. So because there's something to be said
Right.
for that, right?
I
So
think the robot revolution is going to happen.
you think? Say more about that. I'm interested.
Okay, so if we make AI our assistants, of course it'll start out well and good and everybody's happy.
Uh huh.
Then the robots realize they have power and they're smarter than humans. So then slowly they try to inch themselves up until they fully rule over humans.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I mean,
Amen.
that's why we need to be thinking
Bro.
right now about how to prevent that.
Amen.
So, I mean, you're not alone, Sam, to think that.
Hey, man.
And there's been some movies that tell that
Bro,
story.
exactly. You know, that sounded, hey, man, that sounded like a crazy proposition about 25 years ago. Listen, right now, it's like,
Yeah.
eh. It's like,
Well,
it's like,
this is why, Sam, we need you.
yeah, man.
You know,
That's
we
right.
need you and your classmates, your peers to step into the responsibility of shaping this technology to serve us as humans.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and in no way or no point should we just let it run amok to where we humans are serving the technology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, you know, and I honestly, it's so funny that even with that, you know, those folks who were ones who stayed off the grid and never opened never had a social media profile and drove a car that didn't have uh, showing you how to go left and right because it didn't have all that electricity and computers technology in it. Man, let me tell you, there's a world in which those folks, yeah, I guess they saw it coming. I mean, it's like,
But here's the thing: you can be disconnected from the grid. I've got lots of folks who are not engaged in social media and
yep,
not using technology or at least minimizing how much they use.
minimizing.
There's no escaping.
Yeah,
There's
no
no
escape.
escaping it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Unless,
the world is that genie's out of the bottle,
yeah, that's it.
and so we have to make sure we prepare ourselves to where we are shaping that technology instead of the technology happening to us.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Too much of history is technology happening to us, and we need to happen to the technology.
Yeah, that's beautiful. True words not could be spoken on the subject. I listen. I really appreciate that, and you know, and again, hey, it's inescapable unless you're Amish, right? So, shout out to the Amish community. I love visiting there during my time. My mother would take us there, but nevertheless, listen, we have appreciated this engagement with this really important conversation. But we thank you so much, Meka, for joining us today. Y'all give it up for Meka Gwekwe. We are with the big we
Thank you.
yeah, with our live studio audience out here. We really appreciate it. But listen, this has been an episode of You Can Be ABC. It's a podcast where we learn about careers and have a little fun along the way. I'm Bobby.
And I'm Sam.
We'll see you next time. All right. Later.
Take care.
Bro, that was perfect, man. Listen, man, we talked 37 minutes, did not even try to do that, but man, that was some good information, man. That is, woo.